Why the resignation of Joe Kent is a big deal. Everyone, Johnny here, Don't Speak News. Well, this is news that they are speaking about. It's kind of hard to ignore when a senior Trump administration official who is a die-hard Trump fan and supporter, when he resigns, it's a big deal. So, like it says here from Leo's newsletter over on Substack, expect a smear campaign to commence against a decorated combat veteran who says Trump makes decisions within an echo chamber, whose loyalties are to Israel first and America second. Yes, and that's been the case all along. And this has been the plan all along to get Trump to create all of this chaos. He's the Antichrist after all. And a lot of rabbis in Israel believe that he's their Mashiach or Messiah. That's what they say. I've showed you that many times. Now we'll get on to it, or get on with it like we always do. President Trump's director of the National Counterterrorism Center, Joe Kent, resigned Tuesday over disagreements regarding the war in Iran, becoming the first senior Trump administration official to jump ship over a military operation that appears to have gone off the rails and is going to last much longer than planned. Indeed. Kent is a highly decorated veteran and fierce advocate of the America First agenda. His wife, Shannon, also a member of the U.S. military, was killed in Syria in 2019 in a war manufactured by Israel, he wrote in his resignation letter. So this is a man who knows all too well the cost of waging a war under false pretenses, claiming it's for one reason when it's clearly tied to another. The former Green Beret and Army Ranger saw 11 deployments as a combat veteran and later ran unsuccessfully for Congress in Washington state. He's also served as a CIA analyst. He described the launching of the Iran war as a grave mistake by President Trump, and Kent's resignation is the first indication that the House of Trump is divided over the issue of waging war on Iran. Perhaps Tulsi Gabbard will be the next Trump advisor to follow suit and resign, rather than to pretend to support a war she isn't convinced is worth the cost. Kent said that he could not, in good conscience, continue to do his job while the U.S. waged a war in the Middle East, a war he said was out of step with President Trump's America First agenda. He said that Iran posed no imminent threat to our nation, and it is clear that we started this war due to pressure from Israel and its powerful American lobby, Kent wrote in his resignation letter. Trump, of course, said the exact opposite when he launched the war nearly 3 weeks ago. Yes, so they launched this war on Iran due to pressure from Israel and its powerful American lobby. And Kent would know he was sitting right there when all this was going on. And so, in good conscience, no, he can't support this. Going to war for a terrorist nation like Israel. As more terrorist Jews spray Palestinian family car with a machine gun fire, they massacre the mother, father, and 2 children in the latest act of Jewish ritual murder and human sacrifice of Gentiles. And this is how most Israelis really feel. Not all of them, but a majority of them feel this way. Go look at the polls. I've showed you that before. And so I'll let you read the rest of this on your own. The headline really spells it out. I'll put the link up on don'tspeaknews.com like I always do. Now, the letter, which is right over here, Hal Turner put a copy of it up on his website, goes into more detail, but Leo's article here sums it up quite well, and you get the point. But I wouldn't in good conscience be able to support it either, going to war for a terrorist nation like Israel, the synagogue of Satan. So right here we have an end of an empire that was sent to me by a subscriber today from Greg Reese over in Substack. And he's right. This is the end of the American empire, because despite having the world's most powerful navy, the United States cannot force the Strait of Hormuz open, which every U.S. military expert knew. They knew it would be closed if Iran was attacked, but Trump wouldn't listen to any of them. This is why the U.S. Navy is miles away, almost 1,000 miles away from the fighting, to stay out of range of Iran's missiles and their drones, or at least give them a chance to defend themselves against them. And that's why America's NATO allies, well, they're refusing to participate. And Hal Turner puts up an op-ed this morning about, oh, they're just too chicken and they don't have the personnel and the manpower to participate. No, they don't want to participate, you bonehead, because The U.S. and Israel started this war. And it's a ridiculous war. They think this is, they're trying to bring about Armageddon through this war. It's not about freeing the people of Iran or eliminating some kind of terrorist threat in the region. The real terrorists are the U.S. and Israel. They blame everybody else for what they themselves have been doing for all these years, especially since 9/11, 2001. That's when everything changed. But the Iranians may have suffered the brutal shock and awe of the United States military, but they've been preparing for decades. Yeah, they've got so much underground. Factories, everything. So they've been preparing for decades, and as the U.S. is already running low on weapons, Iran has plans for a long-term asymmetrical war, a defensive fight for their very existence. Iran has the moral high ground, and they are holding practically all the cards, which is why they haven't deployed nuclear weapons yet if they do have them. They don't have to. Now, if there's no other options left to them, because the U.S. and Israel nuked them first, well, then I'd say all bets are off, and that will happen eventually. But by his own admission, Trump expected a quick, decisive victory. He ignored warnings from experts and instead listened to his son-in-law, Jared Kushner, Steve Witkoff, and of course Netanyahu, who is wanted by the International Criminal Court for war crimes, if he's still actually alive. We don't know that yet. I'm going to show you some rumors about that here in a little bit. So this is going to be a little bit longer of an episode. I'm going to take my time and enjoy myself. Why am I here otherwise? So with a smile on his face, the President of the United States has said that it's fun to kill the Iranians. Isn't that something? Well, the Antichrist would say something like that. And that they are genetically inferior. By any historical standard, America has never had a president speak in such a manner. Well, it's because he's got dementia, for one thing. I believe that guy on YouTube who's got a 14 years of experience and a doctorate in the field. And it's been confirmed that the United States has murdered almost 200 schoolgirls with Tomahawk missiles fired at an elementary school. Trump said he can live with it, and Secretary of War Pete Hegseth said there would be no quarter and no mercy, meaning take no prisoners. And no mercy at all. Unbelievable. So we have a Secretary of War now, instead of a Secretary of Defense. You see how they've changed everything? So while ongoing U.S.-Iran nuclear talks were taking place in Geneva, Israel launched major airstrikes against Iran, followed by the U.S. Iran and the U.S. began negotiations again in Geneva last February, and Iran agreed to degrade its nuclear stockpiles. 2 days after negotiations ended, Trump attacks Iran. Deceptive diplomacy has been used to attack Iran twice in the past year. It would be unreasonable for them to trust anything that the U.S. and Israel have to say. And it only encourages Iran to develop nuclear weapons, which they have yet to do. Like I said, according to research I've done from the early 90s, Iran does have nuclear weapons that they procured from Kazakhstan. It was an LA Times story in 1992. But they haven't used them yet, and like I said, they have no reason to. They still have the moral high ground. If they use nuclear weapons now, they would lose that moral high ground. During the Korean War, the United States targeted the civilian population, killing approximately 20% of them, and destroyed nearly every major city in a scorched earth strategy, which included targeting dams to destroy the agricultural economy. This resulted in North Korea developing their own nuclear deterrent, a predictable outcome to an existential threat. And Trump recently admitted what the whole world already knows, that Israel has their own nuclear weapons. So why on earth would Iran not want to build their own? And of course, we know that the U.S. Director of National Intelligence, Joe Kent, just submitted his letter of resignation. He wrote Trump that it is clear that we started this war due to pressure from Israel and its powerful lobby, and illustrated how early in this administration, high-ranking Israeli officials and influential members of the American media deployed a misinformation campaign that wholly undermined your America First platform and sowed pro-war sentiments to encourage a war with Iran. This echo chamber was used to deceive you into believing that Iran posed an imminent threat to the United States and that you should strike now, that there was a clear path to a swift victory. This was a lie and is the same tactic the Israelis used to draw us into the disastrous Iraq war that cost our nation the lives of thousands. He ended his resignation by writing, I pray that you will reflect upon what we're doing in Iran and who we are doing it for. The time for bold action is now. You can reverse course and chart a new path for our nation, or you can allow us to slip further toward decline and chaos. You hold the cards. And so, as we know, on the subject of Israel, the U.S. public discourse has changed dramatically. Yes, it has. Many more Americans now have an unfavorable view of Israel than they did 3 years ago. How this can overcome AIPAC's influence over an Epstein compromised Congress is yet to be seen. But our founding fathers would certainly argue that a government of criminal child rapists should be abolished, rather than allowed to drag the entire world into chaos and war. And yet it's time for Mystery Babylon to end, so that's what's going to happen. But nonetheless, Trump is not known for being a reasonable man when it comes to humility. And as Alexander Dugin recently wrote, Trump's now totally free. Nothing can destroy his reputation more than it's destroyed already. No publication of Epstein files concerning his alleged criminal action can make his image any worse. No, he's murdering schoolgirls now in Iran. And he has no problem with it. It was a targeting error, but AI was doing the targeting. You see what unchaining AI from human control will do? It's going to slaughter everybody. We're in the process of killing everybody off, everybody in the world. That's why Jesus said, if the days aren't cut short of this tribulation, there'll be nobody left to save. There'll be no flesh left. Nothing left to save. But for the saints' sake, for the elect's sake, he's going to end. These days are being shortened, literally shortened. Or nobody would make it through. Wow. The times that we're in are just absolutely incredible, don't you agree? Now I'm going to show you how U.S. military discipline is now showing cracks over the Iran war. The U.S. Navy is investigating whether sailors aboard the aircraft carrier USS Gerald Ford, which arrived in the Red Sea from the Caribbean this month, deliberately set a fire to end their deployment. I've been hearing lots and lots of rumors about this. And now it's starting to come out in more of a mainstream Telegram publication anyway, Geopolitics Prime. So the $13 billion carrier is now diverting to Suda Bay in Crete for repairs after the March 12th blaze left over 600 crew without beds to sleep in. If confirmed, the incident would mark a rare and serious case of mutiny and sabotage in the modern U.S. Navy. The diversion also temporarily weakens U.S. naval presence in the Middle East, casting the sustainability of the war fleet there into doubt. Yeah, there you go. So it appears that the rumors of mutiny by troops on U.S. ships is true. I'm hearing about people refusing orders on land as well. And so they don't want to go to war and die for Israel, and I don't blame them. And so as we move on to the other story that I wanted to show you guys, hang on just a second. Let me see if I can find that real quick. Now back to Netanyahu real quick. As Netanyahu, they're saying, was put into a coma on a plane to Germany, according to this Dutch YouTube creator, Brian Boreas, who in this video says that the Israeli Prime Minister has, well, this video surpassed 5 million views, and he breaks down the flight data, saying that it proves something was wrong. And so I'll just let you listen to the man himself. Here we go. Here's Brian.
After the video I made yesterday that's already over 5 million views, a lot of you had the question, how do I know that he was put in a medically induced coma before flying to Germany? Well, let me tell you. What you're watching behind me are the flight details of the Wing of Zion, the aircraft for Bibi Netanyahu. But watch this. So the aircraft takes off from Tel Aviv. There we go, takes off. And then does this for about 4 hours. Why would the Wing of Zion be circling the coast for about 4 hours. Well, the only thing that comes to mind for me is they are here putting him in the medically induced coma and trying to stabilize him along with probably some other victims. So I went to ChatGPT and asked ChatGPT, hey, give me some more information about this plane. So I asked, what's the registration flight number of this plane? And ChatGPT went, 4X ISR, Wing of Zion. As you just saw in the video, same code. Alright, let's keep going. I then asked, is there a hospital on board the plane, i.e. a hospital equipped well enough so you can stabilize someone and put them in a medically induced coma? Yep. Let's continue. Alright, let's have one more look. Right there, 4X ISR confirmed the Wing of Zion. But let's look at the flight path, because he circles the coast of Gaza for about 4 hours-ish and then proceeds to go to Europe. So let's wait for him to fly to Europe. So after being stabilized inside the plane, he is then moved to Europe. Cyprus rejects him. They were like, you are not welcome here. He then flies to Greece, and Greece is like, no Malacca, try Italy. We don't want you here, Malacca. Keep going. So they come to Italy. Italia! And Italia was like, no, ma che cazzo, e affanculo, keep flying. Maybe France. No, France also, nope. Germany? Of course Germany will accept the Ziosh Nazi leader. Yeah. So he arrives in Berlin, where he then allegedly spent some time in hospital with his 6 fingers and eventually passed away, not only because of his injuries, but allegedly also because of negligence.
Keep in mind the key word there, especially towards the end of his little clip, is allegedly. So we can't prove this, obviously, but this is the report that he's putting out there. And it's just as plausible as anything else. It's more plausible than all the fake AI videos that Israel and his Prime Minister's office in Israel is putting out there. So I don't know. I report this stuff, and I'll let you guys make up your own minds and do your own research like I always do. I'm just here to present the information that I'm finding. I'm not saying that this is a fact, but it's looking more likely that he's passed on to the next life. So, and then we have this story. Ex-GOP honcho says Trump should drop a dozen nukes on the Strait of Hormuz. Isn't that something? Former House Speaker Newt Gingrich shared an explosive idea to reopen the Strait of Hormuz that's been essentially closed to shipping by Iranian attacks and mines. The narrow passageway is a conduit for up to 30% of the world's total oil consumption and 20% of global liquefied natural gas. And of course, the transportation shipping route for a lot of Gulf Coast states or countries. And that's how they get their food, is through the straits. So although he hasn't been seen in public since becoming Iran's new supreme leader, allegedly he's in Moscow, getting surgery done in Moscow. So I can't confirm that either. But Mahatma Khomeini vowed in a written statement to use the lever of blocking the Strait of Hormuz to keep the enemy highly vulnerable. President Trump has urged allies like France, South Korea, Japan, and the UK, as well as China, to send warships to the strait to police the area. But Gingrich said that it would be much better to open the strait with a nuclear attack. He says instead of fighting over a 21-mile wide bottleneck forever, we cut a new channel through friendly territory. A dozen thermonuclear detonations, and you've got a waterway wider than the Panama Canal, deeper than the Suez, and safe from Iranian attacks. Really? Does he have any idea that their missiles have a longer range than just 21 miles? I mean, come on. These people are insane. They can't wait. They're finding any excuse they can find to start dropping nukes on Iran. Any excuse they can use. Wow, unbelievable. Well, I think that's enough for this segment. I've got another segment that I'm planning on doing, God willing. And we're going to talk more about, news we're not supposed to speak about. like this. Horror, you'll soon be drinking Granny and Grandpa soon. And about Leonardo DiCaprio and the part nobody wants to talk about, mainly cannibalism, and how Hollywood's up to his neck, literally, in this stuff. So we're going to talk more about this and how if these people, I mean, it's just so sick. This cannibalism agenda is spreading everywhere. We're going to talk about it. We're going to speak about it soon, God willing, like I said. And so stay tuned for that one. But today has been quite the struggle for a lot of different reasons I won't get into right now, but keep me in your prayers if you would, please. In particular for my health. My energy levels have been down today for some reason. Very strange. But anyway, could have something to do with the human resonance, which is going off the charts again. Anyways, don'tspeaknews.com, home base for all that we do. I put a lot of news here that we just can't speak about anywhere else, including stories like this one here, this one here, this one here, and many more like it. Over 3,000 stories now here at don'tspeaknews.com. There's a subscription box at the bottom of every article. There'll also be one pop-up while you're here. And if you want to subscribe and you've missed all those opportunities, well, then click on this tab. Subscribe and contact Johnny. Type in your email, click on subscribe, and then every time I put up a new post, you'll be notified. Don't Speak News or Proton Mail is how you get in touch with me. And that way I can check out the links and things that you send me. And I do need the help. There's no question about that. I'm just a one-man operation, so thank you for all the things you do send. Channel support, if you'd like to support the channel, there's links at the bottom of every article, but you can also click on this tab here for channel support, and all the links to support us are right here as well. And I've been thinking about getting a P.O. box, guys, that may be doable now. And so if you'd like to contribute via snail mail through the regular post office mail, let me know. And if I get enough response to that, then I'll go ahead and get a P.O. box. But if not, I mean, if nobody's going to send anything, then there's no point. So let me know in the comments if you guys would like me to get a P.O. box. And Rumble, BitChute, and Telegram, all the places to find us around the interwebs are right here. Click on that tab, and all the links to find us, including YouTube, are right there. And that will be it for now. God bless, take care. Johnny Storm, Don't Speak News.